Welcome to another Make It Basic tutorial from Doolally Crafts. My name's Karen and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! Based in Mornington, Victoria. Today we're going to be making this card here. All the details will be able to be found in my blog later. Okay, let's get on with the card. For this you will need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, which is cut at 8 by 5 3/4 and it's folded at 4 inches. You'll also need a piece of Best Year Ever paper, which has been cut at 5.5 inches by 3 3/4. Another piece of Best Year Ever paper, which has been cut at 5.5 by 1 1/4. A piece of Crisp Cantaloupe cardstock, which has been cut by 3 1/4 by 2 1/4. A piece of Whisper White, which has been cut at 3 inches by 2 inches. A spare scrap of Crisp Cantaloupe for stamping and punching, as you can see, and a piece of white grosgrain ribbon. Okay, to start off with, we're going to get out the stamp pad, which is Calypso Coral, and we're just going to sponge the edges of the Calypso Coral paper and also the scrap of Whisper White. And we also need to stamp using, now the stamps I'm using today come from the Petite Petals stamp set, and I'm using this one here, and also the Something to Say stamp set, and we're just going to use the small flower that's there. And remembering your birthday, and we're actually going to be using these two stamps down the bottom, but I've actually cut off the happy birthday that comes at the bottom of one of them. I've cut it straight off so that I can always attach it later if I need to for another card. So they're the stamp sets that we'll be using today. So we'll go ahead oh, excuse me, and just stamp the Petite Petals. And I'm stamping Calypso Coral onto Calypso Coral, so it's tone on tone for this one. And with the small piece of Whisper White, I'm going to stamp off and then just stamp on the corner, stamp off and stamp on again, just for some added decoration to the corners, opposing corners of the Whisper White, so that it frames the greeting really nicely. And also using the matte piece of Calypso Coral, we're just going to stamp 3 of the small flowers. Now where I'm stamping these, we'll be cutting them out of, but that's fine because you won't be able to see that, it is a matte. So that's that part of the stamping done. And now we're going to bring in Coastal Cabana, which is the other colour that matches in with the paper that we're using. So I'll just stamp that to make sure it's straight. Yep, that's fine. So we're just going to pop it in the middle of our Whisper White, and this is the greeting, which is a birthday wish that's just for you, friends and fun and presents too. Now before we put the Calypso Coral away, I'm just going to sponge the edge of our larger pattern paper just to give it some definition from the Whisper White that it's going to sit on. That's that piece done. Now I do have a punch. I'm not sure whether or not Stampin' Up! Has it, but if you've got a border punch that you really like, you can use it for this part. So I'll just pop that in there and make sure both ends are even, and line them up matching the cutouts at either end. There we go, and one more, because I know I didn't get the very end in. There we go. Now the reason I've punched that out first is because we need to sponge the edges of this for a bit more definition. And please excuse the squeak of my chair. It's an old one, but it's a very comfortable chair. So here we go, just finished sponging the edge of this. That's it. So we can now put the Calypso coral away. Okay, now to start off with, I'm just going to smooth this scrap of paper out the way. Right, we'll just pop the large piece of Best Year Ever paper onto the Whisper White. Make sure it's the right way up. There we go. Now with the smaller piece we need some glue dots, and with the ribbon just a glue dot on either end. There we go. And we just wrap that around either end of our small piece of Best Year Ever, and I'm just going to pop a couple of small glue dots underneath where the ribbon will sit so that we can keep it flat. Oops, sorry about that, like so. There we go. Now a few dimensionals. Oops. Go one at that end over the ribbon, another at this end over the ribbon, and just a couple in the middle to keep it sitting flat and also make sure that it doesn't collapse. So I'll just take the backing off these. And pop that across the centre of the card, like so. Okay, now taking our Petite Petals punch, we're going to quickly punch out these flowers. Like so, and also okay, and then we get our piece of Whisper White with the sentiment on it, and just pop that onto the mat. And as you can see, nobody would know from looking that the pieces are missing on the back there. Sorry about that, my camera decided to die on me. Okay, so we'll continue curling all of the Petite Petals like so. And as I said, it just gives it a bit more dimension. There we go. And the same, no, I won't bother with the, just to give them that little bit more distinction from the rest of the page, or the rest of the card. And you shouldn't really need to re-ink your sponge. There should be plenty of Calypso coral still on it from the earlier sponging. You only need just a little bit of the ink to stain the tips. Sponging done for these little flowers, and now we'll just give the petite petals a bit more distinction, and the same with the little ones. And that was just using a stylus to pop the middles. Now we'll see where we'll put the little ones after. There's one. Two. And three. So just a little posy up in the top. It's a slight difference from the one that I did before. I don't really think I need the smaller ones, so we'll pop those aside for now. Now I do have some diamantes or rhinestones to pop on these, just in the centre of each of the little flowers, just to give it a bit of a lift on the card. I know a lot of you ladies out there, and gents, like a bit of bling. And then just one each on the centre flowers that we stamped on that one. And there we go. The card is finished. That's the one I just did, and that's the one that I prepared earlier. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please share, subscribe and give it a thumbs up for me. Thank you very much, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye bye.